You've probably heard this quote before, or at least the idea behind it. It's that classic, powerful ideal of free speech, right? The principle that's supposed to be a cornerstone of any free society. It's this idea that even the speech we can't stand still deserves to be protected. But let's be honest, in the world we live in today, is this ideal still a reality? Okay, let's dive into it. Today we're going to explore how this fundamental principle of a free society is being challenged from pretty much every direction. And, more importantly, what that means for all of us all across the globe. So here's the plan. First, we'll establish what we're even talking about, the official global standard for freedom of expression. Then, we're going to look at some pretty stark data showing its decline. After that, we'll unpack the actual tools being used to shut down speech. And finally, we'll get into the really tricky part, the dilemma of balancing freedom with safety. So, what is the official global standard for freedom of expression? Let's start at the very beginning with the foundational text. Now look at the wording here very carefully. This is Article 19, which the UN adopted after World War II. And it's not just about your right to speak. It also protects your right to seek information and your right to receive it. It's a three-part right, and that whole package is really the pillar of our modern understanding of human rights. And this wasn't just some nice idea they wrote down and then forgot about. No. It was built on, layer by layer, and legally reinforced over decades. You had the landmark Sullivan case in the US in '64, which basically protected really robust critical debate. And then, just 2 years later, this thing called the ICCPR turned the promise of Article 19 into binding international law for the countries that signed it. So the main takeaway here is this. This is a well-established, legally recognized right. Okay, so if the right is so well-established, what's the big deal? Well, that's the ideal. The reality on the ground, that's a completely different story. 18. Just let that number sink in. For 18 consecutive years, nearly 2 decades, the state of global freedom, which absolutely includes freedom of expression, has been getting worse. Not better, worse. Year after year after year. This isn't just a blip on the radar. It is a long, sustained global trend. And that trend was still going strong just last year. This data shows that for every single country that saw some improvement in its civil liberties, more than 2 countries saw a decline. So the backsliding is